After all the way we've seen, I got my hands for my machine. You can just put online, so I got some peace of mind. I can keep on crying at night, got no more strength to keep on fighting.
We're here today in Palais d'Egmont as a significant event in a programme that has been very rich in its outreach. 250 million citizens, 250,000 citizens who connected by website to vote on and create texts on policy preferences. Just short of 1,700 citizens, including in Italy and all over in the 27 states, who came together to discuss issues and then to meet with MEPs to discuss those issues. And here in Brussels, a representative group of 150 of those citizens here to discuss with the European political parties and the presidents of the institutions. And the purpose is to have this idea of kind of creating Europe from the ground up, trying to develop systems and methods that bring citizens in from the outside to feel a sense of engagement and ownership. And so an important exercise, limited in its number, but with a big heart and lots of imagination and effort gone into it. I'm interested this afternoon to see this encounter during an election period with the presidents of political parties, and I think perhaps it's even more important, if you're asked the question what can the politicians do, to see what they want to do and say about this. I think the European process generally, so this includes the Parliament, but it's bigger than the Parliament, has become increasingly associated with distance or bureaucracy. Some of this is unfair because it is politicians in capital cities making a whipping boy of Europe in Brussels, even though Brussels makes none of the decisions. Normally the decisions are made through the Council of Ministers by the states and through the European Parliament by the elected representatives of citizens. So in one part it's an issue of Brussels as a whipping boy, which is unfair frequently. I think in another part it reminds me of, say, Garibaldi's Italy. You had made Italy, and as the Conte Cavour said, and where are the Italians? Some way in our early stages we had made Europe, we have its institutions, its policies, but now we're looking for our citizens. I think if the 1.0 project, to use the web language, was creating Europe and its institutions in European Union, the 2.0 project is to use all these new media to reach a much larger number of people and to engage a much wider basis of citizens in active engagement with European policy making. Well, I think there's lots of things, and it requires sometimes a little bit of imagination. I think one of the things that happens, as you know, is that Europe makes framework laws. And when the framework law becomes the national implementation, it's maybe 2 or 3 years later. And only then does the national debate start, and people say, oh, no one told me about this. I think we need some way to connect at the very early stage, and so the Lisbon Treaty is a potential route, and maybe then journalists and media have a real role. The national parliaments will get all the proposals at the same time as the European institutions. And so it's important also in the national capitals and from Brussels, with media who know what's happening, to see what is the input of the national parliament. Do they want to signal already anxieties or preferences about how the law comes? Because we need to give a wider ownership to the making of these directives and framework laws, and Lisbon is one method. And by opening up to national parliaments, it's a way to bring to Rome, through Rome to bring to Italy, to Berlin, and through Berlin to bring to Germany, Paris to France and so on, a more active ownership by national politicians of which issues should be priority on a European agenda.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I can keep on crying at night.